Are you the devil? They told me about you. Stupid bats ruining date night. Welcome to Legends of Gotham, where we talk about Fox's hit series
No.
or the bona fide hit movie Suicide Squad, starring.
Hey, look at that Joker.
Look at this Joker.
Wow, that's an improvement on your last laugh.
Thank you. I told you I'm going to workshop my Joker laugh the
Throughout
whole
the
night.
evening. Got it.
But I'm Bill Meeks.
And I'm Marie DeSimone.
And we are not closing the show yet.
No.
Show music. Silly show music.
Show music.
No, but we're very excited to do this tonight. We've been looking forward to this movie for months and months.
For like a year.
Over a year.
From the second it was announced, pretty much.
And we did our first live Legends of Gotham from Tampa Bay Comic-Con this past Sunday with a special guest who you guys might know we're going to bring on in just a second. But then right after, we went and saw this movie, and it was just like the most comic booky, perfect day ever.
It was beautiful.
It was fantastic. And we went to see it with, you guys might know him from the ends of our episodes where we always play his voicemail first, but he was also the guest on the panel, which will be coming out on the feed next week. But we'd like to welcome to the show Mr. Bobby Hawke. How you doing, Bobby?
Hey guys, how's it going?
It is going
fantastical.
Excellent, sir. So great to see you again in virtual space after seeing you in Meat Space just a couple days ago.
In Meat Space?
Meat Space.
How about reality?
The space.
IRL.
The space where you meet people. Meat Space.
Oh, okay. I'll take it.
Not MEAT.
Look, we're already driving him crazy. He's like, why am I dealing with them again?
No, but we had a good time on that panel, right, guys?
Oh,
I like
certainly.
it. Absolutely.
There were people there. There were a lot of jokers.
There were a lot of people, and that
Yeah.
made me so happy.
And they liked us.
They
And it was
liked
good.
us. They
And then we
really
went and saw
liked us.
Suicide Squad. After getting some, Jimmy John's sandwiches?
Jimmy Jones.
This episode brought to you by Jimmy John's.
First
No.
time I ever had Jimmy John's.
Really?
It was tasty.
Did you like it, or are you going to go back?
I used to work at Subway, so I don't really frequent
Oh,
Subways
I know
all
that feeling.
often.
That's fair.
Fair.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
enough about sandwiches. We saved the sandwich talk for Gotham when Penguin eats a sandwich after he kills somebody. We're going to talk about Suicide Squad, the new hit movie. It broke all sorts of records this weekend. Super Fantastic Deluxe. You guys don't know what we thought about it, but we hated it.
Hated it. That's why we dressed up like the characters.
Before we get into it, Andy in the chat room says, "Oh my God, Bill's forehead is going to be my new wallpaper. I have damage written across my forehead." Also, if you want to join us over in the chat room with the rest of our chatters, it's live.universebox.com, where we normally record every Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. EST. Okay, Suicide Squad. Anne-Marie, why don't you hit us up with the rhyming episode summary or movie
Summary. What do you do with your back to the wall? You do what she says, or she'll make you fall. When villains are heroes, for whom do you cheer? How about the Aussie sneaking a beer? Will Harley escape? The Joker gives aid. Will she forgo Puddin for these friends she's made? Deadshot's the hero. Isn't that odd? We're all far meds with the Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad!
Yeah.
Anne-Marie, what'd you think?
I loved it.
You loved it?
It was everything I wanted. Yeah.
What did you want?
I don't know. It was fun. It was this. This was the personification of it.
Mm-hmm.
No, I've just been really excited because it just seemed fun.
Mm-hmm.
It just it was a whole new, it was a breath of fresh air, if you will. And yay.
Yay? Super yay?
Super yay.
Bobby, what did you think?
Bobby was not super yay, apparently.
We'll get more detailed, but just
A
overall.
little over.
Okay. It was fun,
Mhm.
but I think, I don't know if Anne-Marie remembers, but like right after the movie, she like turned to us and was like, "So what did you think?" And I had to think for just a moment, and all I could think of was it wasn't horrible.
I could tell. That's what you were thinking.
I mean,
And to be fair, you were distracted the entire movie, but because I was holding your hand, like I just kept grabbing your hand, and you kept pulling away, and I was like, "No, Bobby."
I wasn't Anne-Marie, but you wouldn't listen.
Which can be distracting.
But I don't know, like you said, we'll get into it more. But I mean, overall, like I had a fun time watching it. But like, like you said, we'll get into it later.
Yes.
How about you, sir?
That's the entire episode is talking about this. So we are going to get into it.
We're going to get into it.
Spoilers, I liked it.
Spoilers.
I did not like it as much as I like Batman v Superman because I loved Batman v Superman.
Right.
Like I was
They're two very different movies.
With Batman v Superman. But I really liked this for a lot of reasons that we're going to get into, obviously.
We'll just keep saying that.
So you know what? I'll go ahead and launch into my first point here. My first point here, which is I wanted to talk about The Wall. Amanda Waller, the woman, the myth, the legend. Really one of the biggest characters in the movie, not just in terms of screen time, but in terms of presence.
Yes.
Now, before I get into The Wall specifically, I have to say that the pitching session that she gives for the Task Force X put me in mind a lot of the post-crisis DC universe back in the 80s, right after the Crisis on Infinite Earths happened. Okay. Because just like in this universe, Superman shows up on the scene right after the reboot happens, and then the floodgates of metahumans open. And a lot of plots back then, including in Suicide Squad, John Ostrander's Suicide Squad, which he gets I think it was like Ostrander Hospital or something like that.
It did not.
But it was a reference to the guy who created Suicide Squad.
Good call.
A lot of the plots revolved around, the government and society dealing with this new meta-human problem.
Yes.
And
not really problem, but threat that became a problem.
Yeah. Threat, problem, solution, whatever
stuff
line you
involving
follow on.
a metahuman.
Yeah, so I just thought it was really cool to see in this young DCEU the same things that were happening in the young DCU back in the 80s. But, that's all to say that while I feel, getting back to The Wall, while the Enchantress is who they fight in this movie, I think the real villain of the piece is Waller.
Fact. Yes,
yeah,
agree.
Just think about it. She manipulates the protagonist, including Flag, who's like her buddy.
Her right-hand man.
Yeah. To do her bidding. Then she lets the power go to her head and unwittingly unleashes a huge threat upon the world.
Yeah.
And then her knowledge, the knowledge she has about all the military bases, nearly destroys the world. So, I mean, she does a lot of kind of super villainy stuff in this movie, which, I'm not complaining because they completely nail the character here, even down to her working with Bruce Batman, both in the Deadshot flashback and
at the end
in the tag scene. So I would like to know how she slipped him the intel on Deadshot. I felt like that was a scene that was missing, or I missed it anyway.
It wasn't. Yeah, it would have been nice because she just said it.
Yeah,
and we just had to take it for fact. Like, there was no.
If somebody knew or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would have liked to have seen that, but I mean, she was so great. She was the Wall in that moment where she kills the room full of FBI agents because none of them had proper clearance. Brutal. Absolutely brutal.
Yes.
But I'd hope if there's a sequel that the Squad will end up confronting her more directly.
Yeah.
Especially after she kind of pulls the rug out from under him. No, you weren't. It wasn't for immunity. You get 10 years off your ridiculously long sentence.
She never promised immunity.
Yeah.
She never promised anybody immunity.
She implied immunity.
Exactly. There's a difference between implying and promising. They just all were planning on taking it.
But I would like to see them confront Waller, but I mean, they won't win.
I'm curious to see how that would go. Because she's going to have to be the one to take them out,
yeah, it would
to initiate it again.
It would definitely be interesting. But it would definitely be a good fight, too, because, I mean, Waller is not up to the power levels of all these characters, but I still feel like she'd win at the end of the day.
Somehow she's going to win.
Amanda Waller.
Right.
Bobby, what did you think of Amanda Waller in the movie?
I thought Viola Davis did a great job portraying Waller. I almost felt like they went a bit too extreme, i.e. the scene where she just took out the whole room full of people who were cleaning all of the computers for her. I mean, yeah,
it was shocking for sure.
Oh
yeah,
no!
It definitely was shocking.
I mean, it definitely had the effect it was going for. I just don't know. I don't know. It felt a bit out of place. I mean, I do understand that DC is definitely going a bit more. I wouldn't say grounded, but a bit more. For lack of a better word, for all of us like the big buzzword. But like I said, I liked. I liked the portrayal of all the characters, but Waller in particular, I think Viola Davis was a pretty good casting decision.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I really just to say it once more, that whole pitch session at the dinner and then in the boardroom, I thought she just, I mean, really the first like 20, 30 minutes of the movie is all her. I mean, you get the character origins too, but
But she's giving you the origins, and I liked that, especially as somebody who has no idea who 90% of the characters are. I have no idea. I don't know any of their backgrounds. Some of them I'm still a bit confused on, but I needed that, and it gave you, well, because we saw it in 3D, and I do think it actually added to it.
Yeah.
Because all that stuff was really coming at you, because it is a lot of text on screen, but it was done in an interesting way, I think. Bobby, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I do agree that that whole origin thing, all of that I felt took a bit longer than needed. Specifically, they almost introduced Deadshot and Harley Quinn like multiple times in that whole origin montage, whatever you want to call it. And then, as far as I did like the whole like comic booky looking thing when they were like all the text going across the screen and everything like that. But
it kind of reminded me of the old DC Comics Who's where they'd have like a 1-page story that told you like the basic origin, or sometimes it would just be like day in the life of the character, and then you flip the page and it has like the profile page.
What I found odd, that like it just felt like out of a different movie. Like, because like it wasn't something that happened before in this movie, and it didn't happen afterwards. If it was something that happened throughout the movie, even if there were like pows and zaps across the screen like onomatopoeias like old Batman 66 or something, if it made some sort of creative choice like that and made it, I don't know, it just for me, I agree that it looked cool, it was visually stunning, but it just kind of seemed out of place.
I actually think it sort of went with it because it was as she was introducing those characters to the guy at the dinner, you know, like she's turning a page and it's basically like dossier coming to life. And I thought it was relevant in that section because you get your little picture and then you get fact. And that's pretty much what we got was their picture and then fact.
I agree with all of that. I just wish that if it was a visual thing that they were choosing to go with, that
they kept going with
it. Exactly.
I just don't know where else they would do it. Like, I just saw it as...
It reminded me a bit of I don't know if you guys, I don't think you have, Anne-Marie, but
Probably not.
have seen the movie Zombieland, where they do like, right up front, they do these kind of really cool 3D text treatments where they do like the rules of surviving in Zombieland. And it's for like the opening 15 minutes or so. And, you know, you got to do your cardio and you got to do this and that. And it's just kind of a fun kind of into the world. You know, so I mean, I liked it, but I can see where it would be off-putting, especially if you're anticipating more of just a realistic kind of movie straight from the get-go.
Well, I wouldn't say it was off-putting because I mean, like I said, I found it interesting and like in the moment, I don't know, like I said, my head's kind of all over the place with it because there was so much about it that I did like, but then like I don't know,
the things that you didn't like took over.
Well, it's not even things I didn't like. It's just like, I don't know. Okay, I don't know if we're gonna get into like the news of what did or didn't happen as far as the way this movie was produced.
I think we're probably gonna steer clear of those. That's what I think. Yeah. As far as reviewing it, I feel like it's just best to
review what you got.
Review, the final product.
Well, it felt like it just like this like bunch of quick edits that like at some points like almost didn't make sense. I don't know. I'm sorry. Like I wish I could have seen the movie again, maybe 2 or 3 times.
That would have helped.
Yeah. But anyway.
But okay, Anne-Marie, back to Waller.
Back to Waller.
You had some questions about Waller.
I do have some questions. Okay, did she become in possession of the Enchantress's heart and her brother trapped in a statue? Because obviously she's not an archaeologist or involved with archaeology in any way, shape, or form. She's like national security, government action stuff. So that was a little bit weird to me because I never got that connection.
Yeah.
Maybe she just knew Dr. Moon from whatever. But there was an age difference too, so I don't know how they would.
I got the impression that, after what happens to Dr. Moon, that, I mean, obviously some pretty powerful people in the world would probably become aware of it very quickly.
Right. But it's just how, I just needed a little transition, just a little thread. And shouldn't she know that the spirit of the brother is in that other statue and maybe have a little bit more security around it?
I think she thought it was cool because she had the Enchantress's heart, and Flag wasn't going to let her just turn into the Enchantress without telling Waller until he did.
Until he had to, because but I don't know.
Because she said the name in her sleep.
Yeah, she said the name in her sleep, and he couldn't stop her because she was sending the picture messages through her head that she'd kill Dr. Moon. So there's that. So I just thought it might be she'd be a little bit more careful with it. Like, she had it in her bedroom closet. So that just seemed a little cash for me.
Yeah.
Especially because she knows what's going to happen if anybody gets their hands on it. What if somebody else came over and suddenly they're this evil, I don't know, witch brother guy. So there's that.
I will say, though, that I believe I read that the brother's name is actually Incubus.
Oh.
And so I thought it was interesting that we had Incubus and Slipknot in the same movie. That would be like a really weird double headline show.
It's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Yes. So I don't know. I just had those little questions about, I feel like there were some things that just didn't quite make sense to me with her, but I loved her overall. So.
Yeah, it definitely felt like there were some little threads here and there missing for sure. I have heard that they put out a novelization of the movie. Which was from the original. Was from the original shooting script, and I guess there's a lot of expanded scenes in there.
Okay, so novel or comic booky novel?
Like novel.
Okay, see, that I'll read.
Yeah.
I can't read a comic. I've tried so many times. People
don't tell them we're doing a show based on comic book characters.
No, I know that
they'll stop listening.
No, they won't. They know.
Okay.
I just would rather read a novel. Okay, sorry, Bobby, your turn.
Bobby.
Okay. So this is where I bring up my points.
Yes, this is where you bring up your points.
Okay, what was it she paraphrased? To paraphrase what she said, ladies and gentlemen, what if Superman were to rip the roof off the Oval Office and kidnap the president? Okay, so that's how she justifies forming the Suicide Squad.
Yes.
Why is what does Harley or Captain Boomerang have anything to do against anything like a Superman? I mean, I could see Deadshot or even Croc or Katana, the other characters, but I don't understand how Harley or Captain Boomerang are on this team.
See, okay, go ahead.
I got part of this at least. Okay, so Harley's just crazy, and she had no fear. She will do literally anything, kind of as long as it's her idea. So they could count on her for that sort of thing. She had no fear to go. Whoever she's up against them. And I think with the promise of her being able to get out or make those, get out of the box, basically, she would do it to try and get back to her puddin'.
But ultimately, when it comes down to it, if you're talking about facing metahumans, she's really just a crazy chick with a bat.
Yeah, and she did a good job with Crazy Chick with a Bat.
Yeah, but they weren't facing metahumans, really. They were just facing...
No, but she's in the end who took down the metahuman.
When I first heard the Joker was going to be in the... but she had nothing to do with taking down the metahuman, though.
Yes, she did.
Oh, no,
she picked up Katana's sword and sliced the heart out.
Yes, okay, yes, she grabbed the sword.
And then she tossed Deadshot his gun.
Yeah, her gun. It was her gun.
You're right. I forgot about that. They
had
to make sure
everybody attack Bobby, quick.
They had to make sure everyone played a part in
Right.
whatever happened at the end.
And I do have similar questions with Mr. Captain Boomerang, but
I like both those characters, though.
See,
yeah.
I have a theory on this particular criticism.
Do you? Okay.
Okay, so, we get the pitch to the government guys from Waller about Task Force X.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Waller's smart enough to realize that the first time they're still going to be getting the kinks out and stuff. So this is like a beta squad for who she would...
They were called beta.
Yeah, for who she would actually want in the squad. If you have like a psycho pirate in that base or in that Bell Reeve, or if you have these other really big, heavy hitting supervillains, you're not going to bring them out first flush when you're still working the kinks out of the bomb system and this, that, and the other. And obviously it went way crazy with Enchantress, more so than they ever anticipated. But because they were just calling them out for non-human threat or whatever in the subway. So I feel like this was like the beta squad to work the kinks out. And then when the real stuff hits the fan, they're going to bring in, the big power players.
Whoever else they've got.
But, just being beta, it's okay to bring in some human type characters like a Harley or a Captain Boomerang or a Slipknot, because most likely they're going to be cannon fodder to keep the other people in line.
Slipknot.
Rip Slipknot. We hardly knew you.
We hardly knew you.
Comic introduction. He didn't screw comic introduction. He didn't get any introduction.
No.
He exited a vehicle,
punched a chick,
had his head blown off.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, if I'm familiar, if I know the character correctly, if I have it straight in my head, he was actually introduced originally for the first time in the comics in the Suicide Squad and was killed in like the third panel he was in. He was basically, hey, here's Slipknot. Here's what happens if you mess up. Boom.
Yeah.
So that's
maybe they just kept that to be comic
that was
accurate.
His function in the original story too, just to be like you don't want to mess around with these guys because they will blow your head off.
Yeah, it just felt like there should have been more to that. Like maybe even someone else on the team should have died, like Captain Boomerang or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I was surprised that Slipknot was the only one who...
I am surprised that we didn't lose anybody else. But.
Or I'm surprised... Well, I mean, I guess except Diablo.
Yeah, but that was of natural... Well, not natural causes.
That was of metahuman causes.
I was thinking anything about this was natural.
But that was not because of the wall.
That was not because of the wall. That was him defending it all.
Okay.
I loved that. I don't even think I have a point on that, but Diablo, brother man.
No, let's talk El Diablo. I might have a point too, but I don't care because El Diablo was the heart and the soul of this movie. When it came down to, he was the worst person on the squad from a moral standpoint, and he was also the heart and the soul of the movie. I think
he was the only one who turned himself in willingly. He didn't want to use his powers. He didn't want to do anything.
He regretted what he had done.
Right.
Yeah, and I just thought it was interesting how him sort of coming to realize that he had to use his powers to be the good guy is kind of what got Will Smith there in a lot of ways too.
It got everybody there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you there, man.
I loved El Diablo.
I did love El Diablo.
Did you like El Diablo?
I agree with all the things he said for the most part. I forgot where it was I read it, but someone pointed out like, okay, so you've got like a gang member on the team that's obviously Latino. You've got an Aussie who throws boomerangs and drinks Fosters. There's quite a few like people fitting into slots on the team and whatnot. And I didn't see it at first in the movie, so I didn't think it was anything. I just found it funny. I wasn't trying to point out something. I just found it funny. And now I went off on a tangent and forgot.
That's what this is all about,
man.
That's
what we're here for.
But you know what? I'm going to bring it back around.
Bring it back, man.
It's time to look at this Joker. Look at this Joker. Everybody look at this Joker.
Hey, Bill is the Joker. Look at this Joker.
He shot that dude? Okay, look at this Joker. This is where, in this instant, we'll be looking at Jared Leto's portrayal of the Joker. Okay, now, one of my few complaints about this movie is going to come up right now.
Okay.
I don't think they had the Joker Harley relationship quite right. I think the relationship is totally screwed up, and that's not exactly how they presented it in the movie. I mean, they did a great job with it overall. I thought the scenes that were done well, but they treated it more like a legit love story instead of the horror show that it actually is.
I mean, they did have a lot. They did have a lot of the horror story elements to it, though.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, like I mean, it wasn't Love American style, or anything like that. But at the same time, the dynamic between them is pretty messed up, and I don't feel like a lot of that came across in the movie. It was more just like these two crazy people are in this very traditional kind of love. Where in the comics, it's no, these two crazy people are in this crazy kind of love. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. In the comics and in the animated show, like it was almost not unreciprocated.
I mean, the Joker was cool to Harley, but I think at least in the animated series, I think he loved her.
Okay. There's a lot of people who have said that the Joker is almost asexual, like almost he's just not a sexual being.
Yeah.
And so like while he may care for Harley in some strange way, at the same time, and it's also apparent, I mean, there's an episode of the animated series where he throws her out a window.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a pretty screwed up relationship. You're very, you're very correct in saying that. Mm-hmm. And the way I think they changed that in this movie, where it was almost like a weird Sid and Nancy, Romeo and Juliet.
Mm-hmm. You know what? There were certain moments, especially the scene where he throws her into the acid and stuff. Like it reminded me a lot of Baz Luhrmann's Romeo plus Juliet from back in the '90s, which is funny because Claire Danes was Juliet in that, and she was the girlfriend of Jordan Catalano / Jared Leto on My So-Called Life.
Okay.
Yeah,
it could all come around.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, like I don't know, like I think on the animated series there was, I felt like there was some love there, and I think of like various scenes, like the whole like Rev Up Your Harley scene from that one episode, and a couple other ones where there was obviously a relationship, slightly more traditional relationship, I guess, going on, between the episodes that we didn't get to see a lot, because normally when we were running into the Joker, he was having problems or causing problems. But the part him digging her didn't bother me so much. It was just that I wanted it to be more screwed up. I wanted them slapping each other and throwing each other off buildings, and
Well, he electrocuted her.
Yeah.
He electrocuted her.
Well,
I wanted that to be a 5-minute long scene. No, I'm kidding.
And I don't know. I mean, there's already people complaining that Batman punched her in the face, so I don't know how well it would have gone over with her, like with him slapping her around and stuff like that. Well, I don't know how much I would have wanted to see that, to be honest with you.
See, I didn't mind Batman punching her in the face because he realized
it didn't even register with me.
I hate when people complain in superhero movies about for instance, oh my God, Batman punched Harley in the face. It's like she is a supervillain that he was chasing, and she is a willing participant. This isn't like him just going around punching chicks in the face.
Right.
Yeah, not to mention he doesn't punch her just to subdue her. He punches her because he's trying to save her at that point. And he knows if she's conscious, it's going to put them both in danger. He's not going to be able to save her, so he's like bloop, bloop, just enough to make a point. Don't do that, kids.
Don't do that.
Okay, but other than that one little complaint, I really loved Leto's portrayal of the Joker. A couple of things I loved. I loved the hand tattoo grin. That when he put his hand over his mouth and he has the hand or the mouth tattooed on the back of his hand, because it gave it the opportunity for them to have sort of that traditional Joker look with the big wide grin without it looking cartoony.
Because it would have looked really cartoony if they had done it.
If they had done it with makeup, like with Jack Nicholson, for example. So I liked getting that image without necessarily having it lean so far into the cartoony, and it kind of fit his character too, the way they presented him. I also loved how he showed up armed to the teeth and ready to party so many times throughout the movie. The Joker does this a lot in the comics. Like, he'll just be in a random scene, Batman's dealing with a thug, or Commissioner Gordon's, I don't know, hanging out with his daughter. And then the Joker just shows up with the whole crew and completely destroys everything you thought you knew about reality. And he does that a lot in this movie. It made me feel sort of off kilter the whole film. Like, when is the Joker showing up next? Like, I never knew when they were walking around a corner or moving to a different location
when he'd appear,
when he'd just like blow a hole through the wall with a bazooka and show up.
No, that was the very end.
Yeah. Speaking of the very end, I love the SWAT uniforms that said Joker in big block lettering across the front of them. It was straight out of Batman 66. I loved it. And a lot of people I saw were saying that Harley's arc should have been her deciding that the Joker relationship was unhealthy and leaving it. I disagree. Her obsession with him is what makes her such an interesting character. Her obsession with this completely twisted and horrible person. Right. And it probably says a bit about her too, that, you know, she's in some ways as twisted and horrible as he is, even though they've tried to make her a hero in recent years.
Okay, so a few things to go along with that. If they'd have made Harley just leave the Joker because he was a bad guy, that's just because they're just trying to be PC. And it's Harley and the Joker in a comic book movie. Yeah. Like, it's not a Walk to Remember or something with, like, you know, it's not a reality type of movie. This isn't something that's really going to happen. And I'm all for taking care of the girl, but you know what? Sometimes it's just not how it goes.
And Harley Quinn is not a role model character.
No, she's not.
She's an interesting character. She's a compelling character.
She's a sassy bitch.
She's a complex sassy bitch.
She's a complex sassy bitch.
But you know, she's not exactly someone you should
model your life on under any circumstances.
Be telling your daughters to look up to.
No,
you know,
no, she's not. One other thing, sort of with his arm to the teeth thing. So in the room with all the question marks and all of the knives and the guns and the things, why were there baby clothes lined out? Did you notice that?
Question.
There was baby clothes lined out, which I thought was kind of funny. If we go way to the very end when the Enchantress is reading minds and sending pictures into people with Joker and Harley married with 2 little babies. Yeah. And there was 2 baby clothes in the beginning.
I don't know. I guess it depends on where all that stuff came from, because there was obviously
something happened.
I was a little unsure if that was the Joker's sort of hideout, his lair, or if that was just like someplace they ransacked and then his guy came and told him the news about Harley.
I feel like that was his lair with the wall of question marks or ha-has or something. I don't remember what. Probably ha-has.
Probably ha-has. Question marks. The Riddler.
Yeah, that's the other guy. But like just the way it was all lined up, like that was something meticulous. That's not something you went in and like busted some people out of there and took over. Like, you're not going to find 500 knives and guns and things unless it's, you know.
Yeah. But then again, I could totally see the Joker coming in and just laying all that out very carefully.
Oh yeah, you could see it. I wanted to see the meticulous laying it out. Yeah.
But
okay, so there's that.
Okay, Bobby, any thoughts on the Joker before we move on?
All right, I really like Jared Leto, and I really wanted to like the Joker, and I didn't think his portrayal of the Joker was horrible, but I couldn't get past the aesthetics of it. I did not like what they did with the Joker at all, and maybe I would have been okay with it if they maybe had tried to explain it to some degree, but they didn't. Like I said before, this is almost like a Sid and Nancy / Romeo and Juliet type thing going on, and so he seems to be very much inspired by like a Sid Vicious type character.
Yeah.
With the tattoos all over him and whatnot, the slick back, or you know, not spiked up hair, but slick back hair, very punk rock look to him. And one thing would have been all right. 2 things would have been all right, but putting all of that together and then throwing in that like platinum grill, whatever it is that he's got in there, I can't get over it.
I felt they were just going for a modernization of it. Like iteration is sort of that time period.
Yeah.
And basically this Joker is a rap star. With his grill and his tattoos and his, no shirt and just a gold lame jacket, like all of that. It just felt like a very modernized version. And I think it would have been weird if we'd have gotten a classic Joker amongst all of that. Well, I don't know, like maybe it just doesn't bother me because I like that aesthetic.
I think it was very much so. And I'll mention this later too, but I've never seen a movie from David Ayer before, but I think it's very much his aesthetic.
Is it very his aesthetic?
And they're trying to be very filmmaker led as far as like the styles for these movies. As far as like an in-story explanation, because the Joker didn't have any of the tattoos when he was dealing with Dr. Quinzel, right? Like,
I think he had a few.
I
don't think he had as many, but I think he did have some.
Well, I just noticed that, Harley on her upper thigh has a couple tattoos that
practice tattoos
written upside down, like she wrote them herself from her perspective. So I was thinking that maybe once they got together, tattoo party.
Well, I'm sure that it did like venture onto that because that's
I think he already had tattoos, and then tattoo party. But and I can understand everything that you're saying, Anne-Marie. I just I'm not asking for classic Joker. I could appreciate a new interpretation. It was just so much. It was just too much for me. It was just too much. It would be like I said, maybe one thing, maybe a tattoo here and there, maybe the thing on his hand would have been cool, but I don't need damage written across his forehead. I don't need platinum teeth. It was just too much.
Yeah, I think it fit with the interpretation they had of him though, because this Joker wasn't so much, a clown prince of crime, so much as he was sort of another mob boss in Gotham.
Yeah.
Sort of situation where he was a mobster, a mob boss, but he still had a gimmick like everyone in Gotham does. And his gimmick was just looking kind of crazy, being a little punk rock, and coming in and telling really horrible, dark jokes before he gets you. Yeah. Kind of thing. Well, I don't know. I liked it. But I can see why people would have complaints. The way I am, though, like, as much as I respect the history of all these characters and the previous interpretations, I've seen so many variations on them now. I've seen dozens of different types of Jokers. The Rastafarian Joker from the Batman cartoon. Nothing. Every version I just take on its own, and I mean, if there are bits of inspiration or bits and pieces of other versions of it there, like honestly, I notice that, I appreciate that, but at the same time, I try and look at it as it is.
Well, and I think none of them want to be like the last guy, because you don't want to constantly be compared to the last guy.
Well, to be fair, I'm not trying to judge this by anything else. I'm not comparing it to this or that, or I am taking it on its own, and I just don't care for it.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's
totally fine.
That's totally fair. That's totally fair. I think I was just keying off. You said something along the lines of like it was just too many changes to the Joker.
No, I didn't say changes.
Okay.
I said there was too much
stuff.
Yeah, and like I said, like I could have dealt with one thing or this thing, like it wasn't about anything about changes. It was just the aesthetics of the character that they chose to, represent in this film.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Good deal.
Okay, Anne-Marie, you wanted to talk a little bit about origins.
A little bit. So we kind of touched on this earlier, how we got a really pretty good fleshed out backstory for Deadshot, for Harley, even for Diablo in a couple of different spots. But I could have done with a little bit more information about Killer Croc. Like, I feel like we got about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
They're just like, there's this guy, and he looks like a crocodile. Like, that's pretty much what I felt like I got.
I felt like out of any character in the movie, Killer Croc got the short shrift.
Oh, he totally did. I feel like they're building that up for that guy, and that character is going to have something else somewhere. Captain Boomerang, he's just a wild dude who likes to steal some diamonds. Like, that's all I got. Like, I feel like there has to be a little bit more going on, like, why did he turn to this life of crime? Because we sort of got why did he turn to this life of crime from everyone else. So it would have been nice to have that, and it would have maybe not made us feel So why was Captain Boomerang there? Why didn't he get basically sacrificed when Slipknot did? Because they could have easily sent the two of them off together since that was the plan.
Yeah.
And then Boomerang's just like, I'm gonna wait and see if he dies, and then I'm gonna go.
Well, Slipknot again, kind of a throwaway character where Boomerang, he's not a major, but he's a guy. Semi-major Flash villain. So.
Oh, okay. And I did like that they pulled in Flash to capture him instead of it all being Batman.
Yeah.
Because we had two with Batman.
Two.
Deadshot and Harley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's everybody.
Yeah, it was a nice way to kind of set up at the end too that Waller knew about Flash and Aquaman.
Yes.
To give the information to Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
So I thought that was kind of fun too, for sure.
Good times.
Okay, let's see here. We're not going to do a full Patreon read because we're already
almost an hour in.
Yeah, patreon.com/universebox. Remember to think outside.
Yes, please.
And so I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the fun comic book moments I saw throughout this film.
Yes, please, because I don't see any of them.
Yeah, this movie felt very comic book to me throughout, even more so than Batman v Superman, where Batman v Superman got the themes of the comics completely dead on, in my opinion. This got the moments and the visuals right. First of all, there's the dancing fire girl during El Diablo's story, where he's having the girl
in the cup.
Yeah, in the cup, dancing on his hand in fire. Very visual, awesome, and you could totally see that as like a full page thing with all the dialogue around him and the glass right up front and center. So I love that. That was very comic booky. The Enchantress's origin, I don't recall her origin from the comic books. I'm assuming this is it, but the basic premise: an archaeologist finds a cursed artifact and becomes cursed herself. You really don't get any more Silver Age DC than that. Most of the Silver Age DC Comics origins of the minor heroes you might not know. It's all they find this mystical object, or they stumble into an old temple, or this, that, and the other, and they become changed. So it definitely. I think Hawkman's origin, for example, was like something similar. So really great to see that. And then, and you mentioned it a little bit earlier, Anne-Marie, but the Enchantress's spell over the squad, when she showed everybody their ultimate desires, or maybe not, depending on if you believed Harley there, it reminded me a lot of the Black Mercy from the classic Superman comic book story for the man who has everything. Mongol exposes Superman to a plant called the Black Mercy that lets him see what his life would have been like if Krypton hadn't exploded. And he gets stuck in this fantasy, and it puts him out of commission until Batman, Robin, and Wonder Woman come in and save the day and pull the plant off him and everything. I love that. I also love that El Diablo's anger over the Vision is what kind of finally pushed him over the top. Yes. He was like, you gave me back the one thing I regret most in the world, and then you ripped it right away again, and you faked me out, and now you're done, and I'm going to turn into a big wicker fireman guy.
Exactly. I love that.
Definitely. I also, all of the Batman scenes, the saving Harley, diving under the water with a rebreather. They did that a billion times in the animated series. They've done that a billion times in the comics, so they can sell more toys like Water Action Batman. But still really cool to see. And then the moment with Deadshot's daughter where she steps between them and he decides to spare Batman's life because his daughter...
Yeah.
I would... hate him forever if he shot Batman. That's so a comic book
I don't know
moment.
if it was necessary because it was Batman. It was because she was trying to make him be a good guy instead of a bad guy.
Yeah. But it was that's such a comic book moment, and so something similar happens in every fourth Batman story in the comics or something like that. Where some random thug is about to get one on Batman or whatever, and then the kid steps in the way, and they're like, "No, Dad, don't. He's Batman," or
Daddy.
"No, don't kill a man," or whatever. And then obviously, and we're going to show this on the stream too, the most iconic comic booky type moment in this movie was the Joker and Harley Alex Ross picture recreation, which I'm showing on screen right now. So great. It was just a flash that you saw it.
Very, very brief. I mean, and obviously she wasn't in the full getup, but it was just him in that tux and rescuing her.
Well, no, she was in the full getup.
Yeah, she was in the full getup.
I missed it then.
Yeah, she was in the full getup. There's screenshots of it out there too from the movie itself, but it's basically this picture you see on your screen right now if you're watching over on YouTube. So yeah, that was really, really great to see too. And over in the chat room, Andy says that Midway City, funny enough, is a Hawk Girl Hawkman city. And then Liz says, hello. Hello, Liz.
Hello, Liz.
How's it going? Okay, so let's see here. Those are all my comic booky moments.
Okay, that's a lot I like it.
Obviously, there was a lot of text treatments and stuff that was very poppy, very comic booky, all that kind of stuff. But we've talked enough about that. Okay, you wanted to talk about something, though.
Okay, so I've heard a lot of people upset with Waller calling the Enchantress girl.
Really?
Yeah, they were upset because they found it was a little demeaning. Like, if you had a bazillion-year-old guy, you wouldn't say boy, which I mean I can kind of see, but I don't know. I'm one person who's not really offended by being called girl because I am a girl. It also didn't bother me because it was a way of Waller showing dominance over that prisoner.
Yeah,
I think, but I did have more of her issue with the treatment of Dr. Moon. And she was treating her like a prisoner for her own benefits when really this woman's just like, please save me. I don't want to do it anymore. And like she says it like 3 times, don't make me do this again. And
the fact that she like had Flag fall in love with Dr. Moon and everything, it was just a horrible thing.
Right. Let's see.
Nasty.
Similarly, people have been complaining that Harley was just there, to entertain the guys. And I completely disagree. Yes, she was scantily clad, and that's kind of her deal.
Yeah.
But I think she was a big part of the heart of the Suicide Squad. And as Waller points out, she's crazier than the Joker and more fearless, which we sort of touched on earlier, which made her a complete asset to the squad because she would literally do anything. And especially once you made that connection with them, she is one person. You get that her obsession and addiction basically to people and love, that she will do anything for them once she makes that connection. So she, Joker is her family, but now so are these people. And, we've seen what she'll do for Joker, so we know what she'll do for them. And that's why.
Yeah, I'll definitely say, Harley is a character both in the animated series and the comics and in this movie. She is there to titillate a little bit, but that's not nearly the only reason she's there. That's part of the character, much like Poison Ivy, that's part of the character too.
Right,
depending on the version, some versions of Catwoman the same way. But that's one aspect of the character. And I mean, in some versions of Batman in the comic books, he's there to titillate. Like he's a big piece of beefcake on the page, but he's also out there solving mysteries, and all the other things that Batman does. So it's an aspect of the character, but it's not the only aspect of the character. And it's not the only reason Harley Quinn was there for sure.
I totally agree with everything you guys said. I just found the one eye-rolling moment I had was when they were all given, like, here's the box of equipment you'll need to take down everything. And she was given a pair of hot shorts and a bat. And then to carry it even further, the whole, like, when everyone stopped and when she was putting her shirt on. I don't know. I could have done without that beat, but other than that, I didn't think it was like, I don't know. I definitely think the PC thing is a bit, that everyone's screaming about I didn't even hear that thing about the Enchantress.
Yeah. I may have gotten it from somebody in feedback, I think, but I don't remember. I just remember reading it somewhere that somebody had issues with it.
I will say,
it doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't surprise me, but
I agree. It's a bit too far. Like I said, I agree with everything you guys said. It was just that one scene that I felt a bit like, okay,
Yeah, but I think that's part of Harley's character is that's what she. I don't know.
No, I hear you. Like I said, I appreciate that. It was just like I said, it was just that one scene is the only one that I felt was just a bit. Like I said, I felt a little weird.
Right.
Other than that was.
I will say that's only because I was trying to grab your hand at the time. No, but I will say just one quick point of order on that scene. You said that they gave her, as far as the hot shorts.
She had a whole box to choose from.
Yeah, it was her stuff.
It was all her stuff.
Because she
pulled out the full
traditional costume.
You're right.
She pulled out the whole outfit.
Yeah.
And there was more in there, but she chose what she chose.
She opted for the booty shorts.
Not a surprise.
As I do often.
I mean, gotta have them.
When I'm getting dressed in the morning, booty shorts, dress shirt, tie. That's the way I go.
Like I said, I would love to. I I hate fully reviewing a film or talking about a film
Right.
without or any piece of media. Like when I send in voicemails for episodes of the shows,
Mm-hmm.
I watch the shows 2 or 3 times sometimes.
Yeah.
So just so I fully
Right.
don't I don't know so I don't miss something.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wouldn't say I missed that, but you guys reminded me of it. I had totally forgot about it, honestly.
Which, to be fair, you do to us all the time when we're discussing
Very
Gotham,
true.
and we forget very key plot points. So, turnabout's fair play. But you know what else is fair play?
What?
We've already been talking about some stunning visuals with Harley Quinn in the booty shorts. Bobby, you wanted to talk a little bit more about the visuals in this movie, right?
Well, I mean, we kind of touched upon it earlier in the discussion. I mean, it basically is that like there was a lot. The movie was great. The director of photography and everything about the film was great. As far as that's concerned, there are a lot of, like you said, scenes even from like the Mad Love thing and different things like that, straight out of like Alex Ross and different things. But like at the end of the day, for me, the movie felt like it was just that. It was just a bunch of like cut together, almost like some weird 2-hour movie video or even trailer for the movie or music. I don't know. It's just very odd, and I don't know if that's a sign of the times of like all of the. I mean, it seems like year after year after year, there has to be more to keep our attention. As far as like, oh, look over here, look over here. I don't know, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Right.
But I mean, if they had just picked one direction to go with, like I was saying earlier, like those, I really enjoyed those comic book scenes. So maybe if they had tried to pick that up every once in a while throughout the film.
Yeah, I could see that.
And then there was also a few different flashbacks that like were just unjustified, didn't really need to be there at all. They were like with a flashback, you're usually trying to like bring in some new information. And it was like a flashback to a scene that was that we had already seen earlier in the film, and then like there was nothing new in the context of the. I mean, I don't remember there being any. Once again, maybe you guys can. I really wish I could have seen this film again.
Right. Which scene did we flash back to twice?
The scene at the end where they're in the subway and the scene where like the enchantress goes off and does whatever, and she's like where.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
that I
yeah.
can actually explain. It did change. We see it in the beginning. We don't see the in between part. We only see it basically from Waller's point of view on the phone with Flag, and we see Enchantress talking to her brother before Waller goes like cray cray on her heart. Well, when we see it at the end, what they tried to do before unleashing Task Force X, whatever, they tried to have just Enchantress take that big bomb thing that they use at the end and to place it. But obviously she's not going to place it against her brother, and she bolts. And that's when he says she bolts, she just bolts. And that's when they initiate the whole crew. But we didn't get the fact that Enchantress was supposed to place the bomb with the 2 seconds, and that's where she bolted from until that very end.
Yeah, so there was a little bit of
a little bit
revelation, just how she bolted, why she bolted, and it kind of sets up, the use of the bomb.
The use of the bomb.
I don't know. Like I said, I wish I could watch this again to try
of course.
sense of it.
Okay, Bobby, we're gonna pause the recording.
Go watch the movie.
You have 2 hours. No, it's okay. And
Porn, all right.
Not officially.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay, but it is. You kind of approached it as a bit of a detriment, but I sort of loved the visual style of this movie. I felt like in the little vignettes and stuff, unlike other comic book films, it wasn't afraid to sort of linger on calm and mundane moments for an extended period of time. But at the same time, when it was lingering there, when it was like, when they're unpacking their gear and everything, you're just hanging out with these characters as they're unpacking a trunk. But the things they do with the items they pick out, the little actions they take, tell you a lot about the character and kind of build the character up for you in ways that, if Captain Boomerang had ever said, "I like unicorns," it might have come off as
It might have been really weird.
But you see it in the bio, then you see it picked up with there, and then later on down the line
when he loses
drops
it and he picks it back up.
Yeah, it's just a subtle little joke that goes throughout the whole thing, but you wouldn't necessarily get if it was just a big guffaw, like punchline sort of thing.
Right, and I'm actually surprised that I saw it during that opening DOS at the part. That it said likes pink unicorns, and then I saw him unpack one, and I was like, "That's hilarious!" And then he loses it and sucks it back into a check. I was like, "See, that made me happy."
Yeah, but a lot of superhero movies, it's action, origin, this, that, the other, characters playing off each other in these big dramatic scenes, and I felt like this really took time, and particularly along with the music, to sort of linger on these characters for an extended period of time and teach you about them without getting all up in your face about it. All the songs, they really fit with what the director, I thought, was trying to say about the characters, the situation and everything. You'll have more on that in a minute, I'm sure.
I do.
But I just loved how stylistically the movie was shot. It kept reminding me, honestly, and I tweeted out a little something earlier, this might be the closest we'll ever get to a Quentin Tarantino DC Universe film. It reminded me a lot of Kill Bill, sort of this collection of mini music video, not many like a bunch, but many like small music videos, kind of strung together. Because that was very much the case in Kill Bill. A lot of it was set to pop music and classic scores from Japanese films that he took inspiration from. Then the title cards, the big in-your-face title cards, even the instant army fight sequence, which was just as over the top as the bride's fight against the Crazy 88, if you've seen Kill Bill. And I've never seen a film by David Ayer before, but after this one, I'm definitely going to seek out more because, like I said, it reminded me so much of all the most awesome things about one of my favorite Tarantino movies, Kill Bill, that I want to go see if his other movies are like that.
Right. Over in the chat room, Ray says there were some things they deleted and some extended scenes that they took out that I saw would have made the movie better, at least for me anyway. Maybe they'll do another extended edition like they did with Batman v Superman. I'm sure they will because that's been very well received. I would be interested to see an extended version because I know there was even some scenes that I was able to pick out from promos that they had altered. And guys, if I can pull it out, then obviously it was pretty noticeable.
I wasn't saying the whole visually stunning thing as a detriment. I agree that I agree with everything you were saying about the comic book elements and everything like that. But I do agree. What I would say for my part was the detriment was that it felt just strung together, loosely strung together, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Again, I need to see the film again. I just need to see the film again.
Well, I think too, like a lot of times, and I mean, I'm sure some of it's down to the editing and stuff too, but a lot of times these superhero movies that we've got the past 20 years or so, they're put together in a very linear fashion. This happens, this happens, this happens, this happens. And there's not really a lot of, I mean, obviously, putting together a $60 billion picture or whatever, there's going to be artistry there, but there's not an artistic flair to it. There's not that style, that I was talking about again. And I think a lot of times people have a hard time reacting to that because they're not used to seeing that in a superhero movie.
Right.
So I think that's a big part of the reason why it doesn't feel as cohesive to some people as it does to others. Like, I don't know, like I'm going in sort of just approaching this as a movie, not a superhero movie, not a DC Universe movie, but just a movie and seeing where it shakes out, by the end of it. What was done, how well was it done, was it worth doing,
I have no problem with non-linear stories. Some of my favorite movies are movies like Memento and Pulp Fiction. But so I don't need a story or a movie to be not to be linear to be cohesive.
Oh yeah, and I wasn't saying you were. I was just saying I think sometimes I think people don't expect that from a superhero movie. And I'm not saying you specifically, Bobby.
No. I hear
Yeah.
you. I guess I can kind of understand your point, but I also feel like, I mean, while yes, it's true that there have been a few that feel like they've been churned out. I also feel like there's quite a few that do feel very stylistic, depending on the director and the team behind them.
Any examples?
Uh, um, I thought Joe Johnston's or I believe it's Joe Johnston's Captain America.
Was that the first one?
Yeah, he was the same dude who did Rocketeer.
Yeah.
So I felt like you could definitely see his style in that one.
That's actually I haven't watched him in a couple years now, but that was my favorite Marvel movie. It's from the ones I've seen for sure.
It sucks that Edgar Wright got taken off the project, but I do feel Ant-Man. You could feel a bit of his style, but also Peyton Reed's as well. And I'm a Joss Whedon fan, so of course I'm going to say that, but I'll leave that off of the table because I know that there's people who don't necessarily agree with that.
Well, I'll say
second film.
Joss Whedon has an aesthetic, but it's not in the visuals; it's all in the dialogue.
There's okay. Go watch it, the Body episode of Buffy, and you'll see a lot of very interesting visual choices he makes as a director.
Oh. People keep telling me I need to watch Buffy. One of these days I'm going to get around to it.
I watched one when I was in high school and I had a nightmare and I can't seem to get back to it. It was really bad.
I've seen the movie where Pee Wee Herman was the villain. He was like the bad vampire, I think. The original movie.
Let's bring it back, folks. Let's bring it back. I'm bringing it back.
The henchman. Rutger Hauer was the villain.
So,
okay.
So the music in this movie makes me all sorts of...
Also, Suicide Squad is the Tarantino DC film. Go.
Sorry. Oh my. Okay. No. And let's see. It never felt like a second thought for each song to be put there
for the music.
For the music, yes. I'm just gonna do my point whether you two are paying attention or not. I like that it gave it a tone and an energy very specific for each of those sections, and I liked that they were recognizable songs because with such a big blockbuster, it's typical that you're going to get a brand new soundtrack with maybe one or two songs that you recognize redone by some brand new 14-year-old pop star, and we didn't get that, which made me praise because I can't handle when they do that. It was nice to have music that we already had an attachment to, you already had a feeling, and you knew the tone that you were going to get right there. Like, I'm sorry, Eminem came on and Anne-Marie became 18 again.
Loved, when did Eminem play? Was it during the...
It was the close. It was the trunks.
Yeah. I thought that song worked really well for it.
Perfect.
That, I believe it had Seven Nation Army by White Stripes too.
Yes,
I really love the use of that song.
It's a soundtrack that a lot of people around our age already have all the songs. Like, you already know all of these songs, and that's what I enjoy about it. I like that it's stuff that was already familiar, because for me, that was the familiar, but the movie was very unfamiliar to me. It helped me to connect with what was going on.
And that's
is that weird?
That's another thing that kind of set this apart from so many other comic book movies, is that it wasn't this big epic score, maybe a song here or two or there. Yeah. It was pretty much all
pop music,
like pop music, rock music, which I thought gave it a very different kind of feel that I really enjoyed.
True.
I want to make a playlist of all the songs.
That's actually what I was thinking. I was like, where's the soundtrack? I need that.
Okay, Bobby, any thoughts on the music, or do you want to move on to your last point here?
Last point.
The music. I mean, I thought it was an interesting. All the songs were good. They were definitely the first trailer that came out was what it was played against Bohemian Rhapsody that everyone went crazy about. Yep. And so they definitely took that and ran with it as far as the cutting the movie to music or to pop music and different things like that. You've all made the same points that I would make. I mean, they chose the music well to go with the different characters and the scenes, and There you go.
All right. So why don't you go ahead and close us out with your last point here? The L point.
It's kind of a weird tangent, but like
That's
as
okay.
I was watching the film, like the whole third act, there were like elements of the Ghostbusters. That, like,
Ghostbusters.
like obviously everyone has been complaining lately about like the third act of all of these superhero films or any action film for that matter has to like end with a big light beam going into the sky opening up.
Yeah.
But I mean, did it happen in a movie before Ghostbusters, or is that the thing?
I actually think that was the original Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
that was
now
it.
that I'm thinking about that, I think Ghostbusters is the reason for all this now.
Ghostbusters!
But like even the Enchantress being trapped in like when she's dead, but she's not dead. She's trapped in clay or mud or whatever. Just like
only her face though.
No. If you she almost looked like some weird like clay mummy, like just sitting there.
She did look like some clay mummy, but she only rips it off her face, and then she moves perfectly
and then
fine.
She's just covered in
and
mud.
then she's good,
Yeah.
and then she's just dirty in a bikini.
I love that effect though, because I was not expecting like the split
peel
of the
off.
face to happen.
Yeah,
but I mean that's like for some reason when that whole light thing kept coming on, that's all I kept thinking was Ghostbusters. And then when with her at the end, I was like, holy crap! She's actually wrapped in clay, this clay version of the person she was possessed by.
See, it's been so long since I've seen the original Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. I remember the Stave Puff Man, and I remember Sigourney Weaver being possessed.
I literally only remember
and Rick
the
Moranis too.
Yeah, they both turn into terror dogs.
Yeah.
And then at the end, they're like just sitting there in ash, but then they crumble apart, and they're inside the terror dogs.
So very similar. Very similar.
Like I said, I'm sure it wasn't like, oh my god, we're ripping off Ghostbusters. It was just like odd that like the whole thing there. For some reason I kept thinking Ghostbusters, and then that happened, and I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
You know one thing I didn't like about the movie?
What?
I didn't like the look of the
Enchantress's bikini?
The de-aged Enchantress. Like when she's not all spooky, scary. When she's in the green dress after she hooks up with her brother. Well, not hooks up with her brother.
Thing and stuff.
What's that?
With like the big headdress looking thing.
Yeah. The like weird moon. It was Dr. Moon. So I think that
and
might
then
have
like her like the whole dancing thing and why I don't know. Yeah, the whole like
I liked creepy Enchantress versus
creepy
seductress Enchantress.
Creepy Enchantress is best Enchantress.
Yeah.
With the flex
what
of
I
everything.
did find interesting is like the whole time I thought the Joker was going to be the villain in the piece leading up to everything, all the
promos
heard. Yeah, exactly. And in that case, it made more sense to me for Harley to be on the team, because then it's almost like we need someone who's going to be able to think like the Joker thinks type situation. And so maybe that's why I was thrown at, when I found out that the Joker really has nothing to do with why they're there or anything. So that kind of threw me. And I really thought the Enchantress would just be part of the team.
So did I.
Maybe at the very end turn for some reason or something. And I really didn't expect in the second act to just have that be the pivot,
Yeah.
Because of Amanda Waller, especially. Like that was the thing that surprised me, is I didn't expect Waller to be involved in that Enchantress going rogue. Because I knew going in that Enchantress was the main villain.
See, I didn't.
But I did not expect it to be because of Waller.
Good.
Yeah, I look at spoilers a lot.
That's what you do.
Okay. Ray over in the chat room says, love the music. My favorite was the end credits one, Heathens. Definitely have to check that out. Okay, so the time has come.
The time has come.
The time has come to decide once and for all, but by throwing an arbitrary number down, what we think of this movie. Okay, so out of 77 naughty Joker text messages, how many naughty Joker text messages do you give the movie, Bobby? 77.
Just threw this number at me. Give me a second. I guess. Like I said, I had fun watching the movie. I definitely enjoyed some of the visual choices they made. I just really wish I'm just gonna end up repeating myself over and over again. So I'm gonna say like 56.
56? 56, fair enough. Anne-Marie, out of 77 naughty Joker text messages, and by the way, in the chat room, you can chime in too if you want to.
72 and a winky smile face.
72
or a winky kiss face.
And a winky kiss face. Why?
Yeah, this Joker would definitely use emoji.
Oh, they're all. I think he did actually use emojis a few times. No, I loved this. Like, I mean, I'm gawking, but from the second they announced that Jared Leto was going to be the Joker, I got really excited. Then they started releasing the pictures. I got even more excited. I know nothing about any of these people. I don't know what it was that really made me so into it and so looking forward to it. But with every bit of information or picture or video that came out, I got more and more excited, and I was entertained. I was happy. I left the theater, other than very tired because it had been a long day, really fulfilled with my movie viewing time. So 72 and a kissy winky face.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Because I feel like they totally are emoji people.
As for me, I'm going to give it 70 and a sorry cannot send message. Would you like to send us a text message? Because I really liked it. I don't think I liked it quite as much as Anne-Marie did. But again, I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. It like I said before, it was everything I could have wanted in a Quentin Tarantino directed DC Universe movie, except it wasn't directed by Quentin Tarantino at all. Yeah. But okay, well, we have a couple voicemails and some letters and stuff, but before we do that, we're going to let Bobby go because he can't hear them anyway. So Bobby, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's been great spending so much time with you this week.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. All day Sunday and then Tuesday night.
When will you be posting the video?
From the panel?
From the panel.
Next week.
Yeah, we'll post it later on this week on our YouTube channel, and then we'll post the audio from it over on the Legends of Gotham feed next week sometime.
So it'll be more or less next week's episode.
Yeah, pretty much. So it'll be good. It'll be fun. Where can people find you online besides our next episode of Legends of Gotham?
Facebook, Bobby Hawke, just my name. You said it's like Ethan Hawke, but I own my name, Bill.
No, you totally stole it from Ethan Hawke.
At the end. But you can also find me on Twitter at Inevitable Hawk. Again, HAWKE.
Awesome. Well, we're going to thank you again, Bobby, and then we're going to hang up on you. So bye.
Bye, Bobby. Talk soon.
And Bobby's
really
gone.
quickly hung.
Yes, we did. And we're back.
It's
just us now. No, that was good. That was good. I enjoyed talking with Bobby. Hi, Ultra99 in the chat room.
Hi, how you doing?
But, as always, we have some listener feedback. If you want to send in feedback on Suicide Squad, on the new season of Gotham, anything, emails legendsofgotham@gmail.com. The Twitter's at Legends of Gotham. The Facebook is facebook.com/Legends of Gotham. And the voicemail number is 424-274-2352. Again, that's 424-274-2352. And we had a couple people do that today. First of all, Liz. Take it away, Liz.
Woo!
Hi, this is Elizabeth. How are you doing? So here's my take on Suicide Squad. I loved it, and my favorite part about it was how the music was very well paired with how they introduced each of the characters and throughout the film. I thought that they did really well with the music. I have had that Harley Quinn introduction song in my head for days, and I found it on YouTube, and I keep playing it. So I really enjoy the music. Not as much as Guardians of the Galaxy, but that's not what we're talking about. So I enjoyed that, and I overall enjoyed the film. I never thought for an instant that the Joker was dead. Never thought it, and then he showed up at the end, and I was like, okay, there he is. And I was waiting for him to make a grand entrance because I knew he wasn't dead. It's the Joker. Come on. He can't die. I mean, I don't read the comics, so I don't know, but
no, that's totally in the comics. He always dies, and then he comes back 2 months later.
In my opinion, he can never die. He's too evil. But I liked the romance between Harley Quinn and the Joker because I've never actually really seen that before. So I thought it was really cool, and it was really cool. It's like they are what do you call it? They complete each other with their psychoness.
You complete me.
They're the perfect. They found their perfect version of themselves in another person. So yeah, it was a good movie, and I'm trying to keep this short. So I'll let you guys go. I'm going to listen to the podcast later, and have a great day. Bye.
Thank you very much, Liz. If you did like the Joker Harley Quinn love story, I highly recommend to you the episode of Batman, the animated series. It's on Amazon Prime and a couple of other services. It's called Mad Love, and it's the original Harley Quinn origin story, which is basically a long-form, half-hour version of the little 5-minute
that we got
the vignette, she doesn't get thrown into the acid because that's a new 52 thing. But besides that, all the same. Over in the chat room, Ray gives it 66 naughty Joker text messages. Liked it, but didn't love it, mainly for the same reasons as Bill. And then Bobby says in the chat room, because he's in the chat room now, my favorite part was when Deadshot literally said, like, some kind of Suicide Squad. Well, they got to get the name from somewhere.
Well, it was Will Smith. That's a very Will Smith type of line.
Okay, next up from our sister podcast, Supergirl Radio, Rebecca Johnson, a.k.a. at Derby Kid, wanted to chime in here, and then she got cut off, and then she chimed in a little more.
What's up, Legends of Gotham?
What's up?
And I'm calling in with some thoughts on Suicide Squad. I will admit that I'm not over the moon about this one, and I had trouble understanding some of the plot. I have questions like, what was the machine Enchantress was building, and who shot down the helicopter that the squad
Frosty machine
was flying in? I don't know. Maybe you guys can answer that, but those are some questions I had that left me a little confused. But there were a lot of things I really liked about this movie. Will Smith impressed me as Deadshot, which surprised me because he was what I was least excited about going into it. Viola Davis as Amanda Waller, shooting down her own crew was brutal, and yet so very Amanda Waller. Margot Robbie gave a much more layered performance as Harley Quinn than I was expecting. She absolutely nailed the voice and the mannerisms of the animated version, but even more than seeing her brought to life on the big screen, I loved seeing her fantasy of sharing a normal life with the Joker. I was not expecting that at all, but seeing her hit the normal wash on the dishwasher was quite literally a nice touch. And the most
It reminded me of Somewhere That's Green from Little Shop of Horrors.
poignant thing about that look into her mind is that she'll probably never have that with the Joker. And I loved Margot's performance because, yes, while hey, it's Rebecca Johnson. I got cut off earlier, and clearly I have more to say about this movie than I initially thought. But even though there's so much to talk about with these characters and this movie and the way it was brought to life, but I will leave it at those thoughts, and I really look forward to hearing what you guys have to say about it.
It was just the wrap up.
Stop it, Liz. Stop it. Okay. Thank you, Rebecca, though.
Thank you, Becca.
Very much. And we're going to end up with a review from Monica Jones.
From Monica Jones. All right. This was her spoiler-free review because she posted like the day it came over. Disclaimer, I don't read DC comics. Overall, it was a fun movie. For those who griped Joker was never on the squad, well, he still isn't. The main gripe I have about the movie versus comic book comes from my vicarious understanding of Harley Quinn. There is a bar scene where she has a great opportunity for empathy with a team member, a time for the shrink in her to come forth, and it does not. She spends the movie being hot chick made more hot by her cray-cray.
Hey, I like that criticism because that's something that I haven't heard anyone else bring up. And I mean, I guess she does get into it a little bit with El Diablo, where she's like, you own that shit. Yeah. Stuff.
Sorry. Quoting. Yeah, I think it's just so far gone that it ain't coming back. I liked Amanda Waller. They made her just as bad as Nick Fury, though.
You can say badass.
I can say badass. I just can't. Though her repeated referral to Enchantress's girl, this is where I got it, was grating. If you have a 6,000-plus-year-old male, you don't refer to him as boy, so drop your stupid. Everyone else was great. Go see the movie.
Thank you very much, Monica. And like we said, we're going to be back next week on the podcast feed or on the YouTube feed in a day or two with our live panel from Tampa Bay Comic-Con. Highly recommend you check it out. They laughed at our jokes.
They did laugh at our jokes.
And we'd love to hear what you think about anything.
Everything.
Just literally anything. Send us an email, legendsofgotham@gmail.com. Twitter's @legendsofgotham. The Facebook is facebook.com/legendsofgotham. And the voicemail number is 424-274-2352. Again, that's 424-274-2352. Anne-Marie, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at @amdsimone or check out my blog, crunchycrafty.com.
As for me, you can follow me on Twitter at Bill Meeks. You can follow all of the podcasts we do at universebox.com, including joining in on our chat at live.universebox.com. Keep an eye out on our Twitter feed, for when we're going live with that. And you know what? You can go kill yourself because we just reviewed Suicide Squad.
No, do not
okay,
go.
Sorry.
No.
Amanda Waller will do it for you. Just cross her. That's all you have to do. But thank you guys so much for joining us. We love you, each and every one of you. Join us next time for more
Legends of Gotham. Oh, wait, where is it? There's my tattoo mark.
Damaged.
You look damaged.
I'm off my meds.
I like what you're selling, lady.
All right, guys. We're going to head out. Thank you so much for joining us in chat and all around and everything.
Yes, he does know when to cross the line.
Yeah, Bobby says Bill always knows when to cross that line. I'm damaged. I'm telling you.
True that.
Damaged. All right, guys. We're going to get out of here.
Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.